Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Ruffin and I'm here today with author Edward Fair. Edward, how you doing today?
I'm doing great now. Thank you for having me on here, sir.
Thank you for being with us. Now, Edward is here to talk about his new book, The Christmas Bell Ringer. I'm going to read a little bit from the book blurb of Edward Fair's The Christmas Bell Ringer. When Jack returns home after years away, he's not looking for redemption. He just wants to disappear into the background. But a simple job ringing a Salvation Army bell begins to change everything. As he reconnects with old friends and forms new bonds, especially with a struggling teenager named Tyler, Jack is reminded of the man he used to be and the man he still could become. The Christmas Bell Ringer is a moving tale of second chances, unexpected miracles, and the power of community to heal the deepest wounds. Filled with heartfelt moments, small town charm, and holiday spirit, this book will leave you believing in the magic of Christmas all over again. Now, can you tell me, was there a particular thing that inspired you to write this book?
I have one thing only. My wife, she loves Hallmark movies. She loves watching Christmas Hallmark movies, and that's
Hmm.
what I had wrote my first three books. She said, "Ed, can you write a Hallmark style movie, a book story?" I said, "I think I can do that." So there it is.
Wow. So total inspiration was your wife asked you to.
Yeah, well, you got to do what they ask you to.
Yeah.
They say to run and dump in the lake, you run and dump in the lake.
Exactly. Exactly. So, can you tell me a little bit about your writing process? Do you have days and times that you write, or do you just write whenever the spirit hits you?
Whenever I got like just like this one here, I got she gave me the idea. I thought about it, thought about it, and then I sat down with I write on my tablet so I can take it anywhere in the house. I
Hmm.
started writing the tablet at I believe it was 10 o'clock in the morning. I started writing it. I carried my tablet to bed because I was still writing the story, and around 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, I finished up my first draft of the story. So it was about 20, 21 hours straight through writing the story.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
because I mean, I get my thought, I get going, I don't stop my thoughts. My process just works that way. And it took me another 16, 17 hours going back through it, saying, well, I want to make this a little bit better here, make that a little bit better there.
Hmm.
And of course, I do my own proofreading, I do my own editing, and I
Okay.
do my own publishing. So it took, added time on for that. But the original book took about 20 hours to write.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Now, in this book, are there characters that you relate to personally, or are they completely unlike you?
There's nothing in there that relates to me whatsoever. It just, I try to follow it in my mind. I've seen enough of the Hallmark movies to know how they run, and I just put in my mind that that's what I'm going to write, and that's how I did the book.
Wow. Okay. Now, as you're writing, or even after your writing is completed, are there rewarding moments? Is there a specific moment that's the most rewarding for you?
Yeah, when I get the read, when I get the final rewrite done, and I look at the book and I read it again, I say, "Well, that's a good book," you know.
Hmm.
And I'm not bragging on myself, not patting myself on the back, but yeah, that's a good story.
Right.
So that's the way I am.
What do you hope that readers will take away from this book?
I'm hoping they can take away and say, "Man, I can't wait if there's going to be an addition. I can't wait to see what happens to Emily and Jack. Did they get married? Are they getting married before they go to Nashville? Because it's outright Christian stuff. They can't be together in hotel rooms in Nashville if they're not married. You
Hmm.
know, so I'm hoping they get start to think about what the next book may be.
Now, as you write, with your Christianity in mind, have you found it very easy or a little bit difficult to decide what to put in and what not to put into your
No,
books?
I'm a certified lay minister.
Okay.
So it doesn't bother me to interject. Like when they had the karate class, I made sure I said that the pastor comes up and opens in prayer. I made sure that they close in prayer because no one got hurt. Um, they had a pizza party at the music store, and Tyler, the kid that they were bringing along, trying to get out of the stuff, said, "Hey, before we eat pizza, let's pray. This is an inspiration. Hey, he wants to pray, not he didn't say, Pastor, would you pray? He said, I want to pray.
Right.
So it brings it that, that you can bring kids along and get them out of their gang bang type thing and move them into a more of a better person.
Wow. Okay. Very inspiring. If you could offer one piece of advice to an aspiring writer, what would that piece of advice be?
If you get an idea, write it down. If you can't write it all at once, write down what you want to continue with when you come back. Because it's very hard to start something and then have to leave and go somewhere and then come back and saying, where was my thought going? You
Mm,
know,
yeah. Yeah. Now, do you read book reviews for your own books?
I do read them all. If there's a review up there, I read them all. I
Yeah.
want to see what I did good, what I did bad. If it's something real bad, why did that person say that?
Hmm. Have you have you ever read a review and it affected you personally in a negative way?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
Why don't you tell us about some of the other books you have published?
Okay, well, if you notice, I'm blind in my right eye. Been that way all my life. I was born premature, and I wrote a memoir of one good eye, one blind eye, a difficult life, and I put in that book what issues I had growing up. From being a difficult time playing sports. I couldn't play outdoor playing baseball because I didn't have depth perception. I couldn't catch the ball. Um, I had a difficult time playing the bases because I throw the ball hard and fast at you, and I had a difficult time reacting to it. But I learned to pitch, and as a pitcher, I didn't have to catch the ball. So I learned to pitch. Uh, it's a book about being bullying because it would have a squint in my eye, and kids they like to bully and pick on you and call you names and stuff. So that's all in the book, and all the different things I attempted to do in life, the good and the bad, what hindered me at being blind and why, in my eye, what caused problems with it, what didn't cause problems with it. And my entire life is on there, from being a paramedic firefighter to a truck driver to um, being a certified lay minister.
Wow.
That's out there. It's a memoir on my life, which was one of the first books I wrote. Um, and that was inspired by my one first cousin, Shirley. She inspired me to do that because she worked with the handicapped people. And she said, Ed, why don't you sit down and, write a story about your life? Maybe the different hospitals out there, like St. John's and stuff, will pick the book up and put it in their library for kids to read, what they can look forward to being blind in one eye.
Hmm. Were there any other books that you wanted to speak about?
Well, I have one called Through the Flames, which is a thriller. It's about a young couple. He's a paramedic firefighter. That one here relates to me. He's a paramedic firefighter. She is an elementary school teacher, and because she has an education and he doesn't have the education, her parents didn't like him. So they thought she could do much better than him until the night that their house catches on fire, and he runs into the house and saves the parents without gear on and drags them out. Then they got a whole new respect on him. The other book I have is called a Bitter Tea. Bitter Tea is a book about seven people who in high school beat up on one guy and they thought they'd killed him and they buried him.
Hmm.
And 15 years later, people start drinking poisonous tea of this group and they end up dying, each one individually. And the one person who was in the group starts investigating. She's not a licensed person, but she's investigating. Why are they dying? Why they're dying? And she's trying to figure out who did it, who does it.
Hmm.
And so I'm not going to give the ending of that story away either,
Okay.
because it's a twist. It's a different style story ending than what I don't like to write the same things everybody else does. Uh,
Right.
so it's got a different type of ending. But that's why the book.
Awesome. That is awesome. Those sound really good. Anyone who is interested in learning more about Edward's work can click on the links below. Edward, thank you so much for being with us again today.
Thank you for having me, sir.
As usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.